So, welcome in, welcome back to Positive Green Garage. We're going to continue our series, Anatomical Approach to Human Body Topology. Today, we're going to continue working on this head, right? This is the thing that we did on the last part. And from this step forward, it's going to start feeling more and more complex. So, I may or may not need to fast forward stuff depending on the time frame that I have in mind. Right, so okay, this is the last step that we did, and the last step was step 3, right, at neck block. Now let's move on to step 4. Step 4, rough shape, add one vertical and one horizontal loop on upper third of the head. So this step 4 is to shape the cranium, basically. So yeah, let's go back here and let's go back to edit mode, and we're gonna add 2 loops, right? So one vertical loops in here, right, along the x-axis, and one horizontal loop on the upper third of the head. So there's 3 loops, horizontal loops here, as you can see. Now we're gonna add 1 loop on the upper third of the head. So that's how it looks like, right? So far this is still a cube, right? It's still very boxy. And now with these extra geometry, we can now start shaping the cranium part, right? So let's go to sculpting, and where is my head? Okay, that is the head. And now let's shape it. Now I think we can do it a little faster first with edit mode, right? So let's do it with an edit mode first, and we're gonna move on to create the sculpting later, right? So again, so this is the good thing about these steps of head that I've created, so that we can go back and forth this as a kind of a template that I can use to kind of fast forward the process, right? So this is how it's supposed to look, and this is what we are right now. And yeah, so the thing is that we also gotta have to kind of make this a little bit angle right here. As you can see from this one, you can see that this is not very straight from the front to the back, so we're gonna have to kind of angle it a little bit on the cranium. So yeah, so let's do it something like that. Let's move it to the bottom, and we also need to move this back a little, and we're gonna move this bit a little to the front. As you can see here, it's gonna move to the front a little bit, the red part, so that it kind of create a nice profile along the x-axis. And yeah, so this is how it's supposed to. Oh, also the neck bit too as well. And we're gonna move this to the back a little bit, and we're gonna pull this to the front. Let's turn on the clipping first, right? So yeah, let's kind of move it down so that we kind of create that nice, you can see it from the side view. And yeah, let's start shaping the head, right? So this is basically a rough shape. You don't have to do a fancy thing over here. It just goes to the big shape of everything, the big shape of the head, right? So we're gonna also push this to the end a little, right? So that's how it's supposed to look. And yeah, so also this bit here, because this is kind of angled a little bit, as you can see, we're gonna have to kind of rotate it a little bit as well. And yeah, so let's soften this up, and let's pull it. And yeah, so let's pull this back a little, and let's smooth it out. And yeah, now let's pull this down a little bit more, right? And also maybe we're gonna have to do this manually, right? So something like that, so that it creates a nice curve profile there. And yeah, maybe do this as well. Push this more to the front, and so that we can push this to the front as well, right? And to create that more tangible neck area, I suppose. And yeah, so this looks pretty good so far. Maybe this up a little bit more, and this down a little, and yeah, that I'm pretty happy with the shape. Probably this one we should kind of remain straight for now, and yeah, this looks pretty good. Yeah, now maybe this one is a little down. Okay, and yeah, let's push this down a little bit more, right? So okay, now I guess that works for me. Okay, now yeah, that's it for step 4. Now let's move on to step 5, and it's gonna be rough shape. Another rough shape. Add 1 horizontal loop on middle third of the head, and 1 vertical loop on each of 3 vertical loops at the side. So this is to shape the nose area. So let's go back to Blender and let's turn on our steps of head. So get so what did I, this is right, oh okay, so now this is, let's hide it for now, and this is the step 5. So this is to shape that kind of this nose shape here. So that's basically what we're gonna do. So let's turn this out back, and let's add this horizontal loop, which is, this is the, remember that this is the upper third and this is the middle third, and this is the lower third of the head. So we're gonna add another horizontal loop here, and yeah, and we're gonna add 1, maybe we're gonna slide this a little bit to the back so that we can add 1 vertical loop on each of these 3 vertical loops. So now if you calculate that there is 6 loops, vertical loops in this on the side of the head. So yeah, now with this extra geometry, now we can continue shaping the whole head until it looks something like this instead. So now yeah, let's go back to sculpting thing, and let's pull this middle part to create kind of the nose bit, as you can see, and not that one, but this one instead. So something like that, and we're gonna push this down, as you can see from the template. This is kind of create that thing, that kind of curve. So let's move this to the bottom a little bit, and it's kind of gonna be faster if we do it in edit mode. And yeah, so that's the shape that we are after. And let's see, we also have yeah, so we're gonna make the yellow part, which is the side of the head, a little wider, so that now we can just smooth it first because we got extra geometry around here. And we can also start shaping the neck. So you can see that the neck, now the neck is angled properly, which is that angle, and that's what we're gonna do. So let's rotate it something like that, and we're gonna move it up, scale it down, and yeah. And also we're gonna add another loop here so that it's easier for us to sculpt the head, so that the neck, so that we can create that angle right there, and we're gonna pull this aside to create a nice looking neck, right? So let's put it up a little bit, and yeah. So now from the front part, I think we're gonna have to deal with the chin now, right? So maybe make it white around here. This is the cheekbones. This is gonna be the cheekbones here, the middle part. The top part is gonna be the cranium, the middle part is gonna be the cheekbones, and the lower part is gonna be the jaw and the chin area. So that's pretty much the kind of the blueprint of the whole thing going on. So yeah, so that's it, I guess. That's pretty good. Probably I should pull this back a little bit. So yeah, so it looks something closer to the reference that we have, right? So let's pull this to the top probably, and yeah, so this is what we got right now. Pull this to the top a little bit, and yeah, so maybe this is a little bit straight, and we also have to kind of pull this back. Okay, pull the jaw, the chin back to the bottom, because we have kind of smoothed it out too much, so it kind of lost its shape. So that's how it's supposed to look like. And yeah, so that looks pretty good for now. Maybe we have to kind of push this to the middle a little bit. And yeah, I guess that's it for now. I don't have to be very detailed on it, because we're gonna continue working onto step 6. Right, so this is the step 5. And let's see, on the step 6, we're gonna add brow. So this is gonna be interesting. We can start getting it interesting. Add brow and eyelids / orbits loop, right? So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. First, this is gonna be, so as you can see that in the front part here, there's 2 vertical loops, and this one is gonna be the middle loop. So if we go to my Photoshop, that one vertical loop is gonna be this bit right here. So this is gonna be the middle loop. This is gonna be uninterrupted, coming from the top of the head to the bottom of the chin here. So this is gonna be it, right? So yeah, now we're gonna slide this in to the middle, right? Because we're gonna add another vertical lines there. So as you can see, this is the probably we should change the steps of it to step 6, and so that is how it's supposed to look. So maybe this one a little bit more to the middle, something like that. So this one, something like that. Okay, now for the nose, we're gonna close this a little bit to the middle, right? And that is the middle. And yeah, so now if you notice that this bit, so now there are 3 vertical loops in the front part, which means it's gonna be 6 if you count the right side. So there are 6 vertical loops in the front part as much as the back part, and it's gonna be the same for the side, because the side also has 6 vertical loops. So, and yeah, that equal thing is what we are looking for, right? So next we're gonna move this loop. So remember that this is the upper third of the head, and we're gonna move this to the bottom a little bit, and we're gonna maybe scale it up a little bit, and because we're gonna add another loop right there. So yeah, now what we're gonna do is that delete all these faces because we're gonna reconnect everything, rewire everything. Now we're gonna take these faces and probably this face as well, and we're gonna delete it. And yeah, now we're gonna start working on the what is called again, the orbits loop, right? So remember that the orbit loops came, so this is the side of the face, it came from the side of the face, and they kind of bend in to create this orbit loop, and then they go out again to the side of the face. So that's exactly what we're gonna do, and we're gonna take these thing, right? These two edges on the side of the face, and we're gonna extrude it, probably scale it down a little, and we're gonna put it here, put it to the middle, and maybe rotate it as well. It's okay. This is not shaped very well for now, and that's okay. So, and then we're gonna extrude it again, and we're gonna move it here, and we're gonna rotate it, something like that. Again, it's okay. It's not shaped right now, but we're gonna fix it later. So now we're gonna extrude this again, because we're gonna connect it, and we're gonna subdivide it because we're gonna connect that to these, right? So that's what we're gonna do. And yeah, now to shape this, so we've got these loops already, which is great. But now to shape this part roughly better, we're gonna divide it into 4 loops each. So 4 for the upper orbit and another 4 for the lower orbit, right? So let's do it. So yeah, we divide it by two first, so that it's easier to work with. And here, add another one here, another one there, and we can create something like that. And probably this one should be in the front, this one as well, right? And we're gonna divide it another one here. So now we got that beautiful loop, and it's shaped a little better. And yeah, so because let's see the thing, the template, and as it happens that we're gonna have to kind of move this, you're gonna have to angle this a little bit forward to the front side, and let's do it. Let's push this to the front a little bit, and maybe also smooth it along the way. And yeah, so something like that. And yeah, that's roughly good. But now we're gonna have to deal with this loop here, because it's gonna be a little bit too big. So let's slide it in a little closer here, and voila. Now first let's continue with the forehead. Now remember that this is still a plain forehead, right? So as we've talked and preached earlier, that in the forehead area is kind of divided with this being the forehead, and this is going to be the brow area, which has 2 different topology. So we're going to delete these 2 things, these 2 faces, and because we're going to reconnect that to this orbits area, orbits loop, and we're going to connect these 2 things to this 2 face, and we're going to connect the remaining 2 face to the middle, something like that. So as you can see that now this 2 creates a continuous loop from one side of the orbit to the other, and that's what we are aiming for. So yeah, so let's shape it again. So just a little bit shaping, and I think we are done. And let's make that rounded loop here and smooth it out a little, and push this. Probably this is too wide, and pull this up a little bit. Now that looks better. maybe this one also needs to be pulled to the bottom a little bit. And yeah, so that looks kind of roughly similar. Maybe this one down a little bit more. And yeah, something like that. And yeah, that's it for step what's again, step 6, I guess. So now let's get on to step 7, connecting the brow horizontal lines to create a rough shape of the nose. So far we've got this nice loop from the back of the head to the brow, and now we're gonna extend it to create the nose. First, remember that we have added this, you know, we've kind of added one horizontal loop on each the upper and the middle part of the head, right? Now we're gonna add one horizontal line on the lower part of the head instead. So that is, and yeah, so now first let's add this loop in the middle so that we can connect that with this bit, and let's move this to the middle a little bit. And yeah, so we're gonna also add another vertical loop here around the lower orbit. And so, because the thing is, we're gonna use these two edges as the border loop of the nose. So yeah, so now let's delete this one face here, and let's add another subdivision there. And as of right now, it creates this kind of a angle to the top. Now we're gonna rotate it so that it creates an angle to the bottom, right? So that's it. Now we move it a little to the bottom, and now let's extrude this thing. And yeah, so let's extrude it, rotate it a little bit, and move it to the side, and move it to the front. Again, this is something like that. And we're gonna add another loop there, and now we can just connect that to that, this to that, and this to that. And yeah, so we can move it here. Sorry, maybe first we're gonna move it here first, and we're gonna move it there. And that is for the nose, right? So that looks like a nose. Now we're gonna have to move this to the side so that we get a wider nose there. And let's see our template. So that's step 7. Now that's how it's supposed to look like, right? That's roughly how it looks like now, which is good. Now the last thing is gonna add another horizontal loop around the nose, and now we can, let's just sculpt it a little bit so that we get a nice shape before we move on to the next, right? So yeah, that seems good. Now probably we're gonna move this a little bit to the middle as well, and yeah, so that looks roughly the way I would like. Maybe this one a little bit to the middle again. So yeah, that probably is a good shape already, right? So push it to the front. Let's push it to the here, and yeah, so this is the step 7, and I guess that's it, because we have gone a little bit long here. And yeah, that's it for step 4 to 7. On the next part, we're going to continue working on the next steps. So I'll see you there.